Hi, and welcome to New England Yesterdays. Today I want to tell you about a book I just finished reading, Lost Boston by Anthony M. Sammarco. This book tells the stories of 67 places in Boston that no longer exist or no longer exist in their original form. It includes not only the storied buildings and neighborhoods that you'd expect to find in a volume like this, such as Union Station, the West End, Scully Square, and the Hancock House, but also largely forgotten treasures like the original Gothic Museum of Fine Arts building that was located in what is now Copley Square, and the amazing old feather store which was built in Dock Square in 1680 and demolished in 1860. In addition to historic homes, hotels, public institutions, and commercial buildings, Mr. Sammarco also includes more unexpected structures and places including the East Boston Airport, now Logan, the Elephant House at the Franklin Park Zoo, the Fieldstone Common Victory Garden, and even the cast iron fence that once surrounded the Massachusetts State House. This book was published in 2014, but only recently came to my attention after I heard the author interviewed on an old episode of the Fieldstone Common podcast. I'll put a link to that podcast in the description box. Mr. Sammarco, who teaches history at the Urban College of Boston and has written extensively on Boston history, was approached by Pavilion to write this book after they had published several similar volumes featuring other cities. His first task was to come up with a list of properties that might be included and then whittle that list down to a more manageable number for publication. The main criterion for inclusion had to be excellent photographs, including one main photo of the property and a couple of auxiliary pictures to help tell the story. Obviously, this limited the scope of the book to places that were lost to either fire, demolition, or extensive renovation after the advent of photography in the mid-19th century. The book was to include at least one property lost during each decade from the 1850s to the early 2000s. Each place was to have a short essay detailing its history and fate. The author succeeded beautifully. I absolutely loved this book. Mr. Sammarco spent years tracking down the photos and researching the histories, and his efforts show on every page. Of course, the parts that interested me the most were about the places that triggered memories from my own childhood, including Jordan Marsh, Boston City Hospital, and the Dudley Street Station. This book would make a great gift, especially for an older person who would remember places like Mechanics Hall, the South Boston Aquarium, Girls High School, the Holton Library in Brighton, and the Old Howard in Scully Square. But I would recommend it to anyone with an interest in Boston history or architecture. Sports fans would enjoy reading about the Huntington Avenue grounds, first home of the Red Sox, the Reedville Racetrack, Braves Field, the Boston Arena, first home of the Bruins, which still exists but has been extensively renovated, and, of course, Boston Garden. My only criticism of this book is that it doesn't include a map showing where all of these places were located. I lived in Boston as a child, but my memory of exactly where all these streets and neighborhoods are that are referenced in the text is fuzzy at best, but it's a minor fault. I wholeheartedly recommend this book. It's available from Amazon or your local bookseller. I plan to check out other books by the same author. His history of Howard Johnson's looks fascinating. Thanks for joining me today. If you'd like to be notified when I have new videos uploaded, click on the subscribe button and the little bell icon. See you next time.